My dad told me that he wished I was dead and made me homeless. Not the words you want to hear from your dad, but it's quite a common occurrence within the LGBT community. When surveyed the homeless youth, approximately 40% of homeless people identify as LGBT. And considering that as a general percentage of the population, only about 10% of people are LGBT, to have 40% of homeless people LGBT is an absolute disgrace. What kind of parent says that to a kid? What kind of person can just say to their own flesh and blood that I wish you were dead? If you're a parent out there, can you imagine saying that to your own child? For any reason? Maybe if they murdered someone or something like that, but just for being who they are, just for being their authentic self. To be told that they wish you were dead and then completely cut off, made homeless, and never spoken to again is some darkness that I can't even begin to understand. But this is occurrence, for millions of people. This is ridiculous that we still have at least 60 countries in the world where being gay is actually a crime. And in the rest of the places in the world where we're tolerated, we're not often accepted. We're part of society that society deems as deviant in some way. But you're not deviant. If you're gay, you're just gay. Like, so what? How is it anybody else's business who you're attracted to? So if you are part of the LGBT community and you've had rejection from your own flesh blood family, then I understand what that feels like. And I want to offer you a chance to join a free community that I'm building. It's called the Neurodivergent Lifestyle Community. The group is on Facebook, it's free, and the link is in the description below. It's for anyone who's been an outsider in society and not deemed as being good enough for whatever their requirements are. You're not good enough to be a son, you're not good enough to be a daughter, or if you're trans, then they can't even comprehend the fact that you exist. But you do exist, and there's nothing wrong with your existence. It's not a crime in real terms. It's made up nonsense in someone else's head that they've decided that you're not suitable for living. You are in some way a mistake, a burden on society, or whatever else crap they make up in their head that says that you're not acceptable to be yourself. This kind of bullshit needs to end now. This has been going on long enough. We're not living in the 1950s anymore. This is 2026. We are starting very, very, very slowly to get more acceptance in society. But it's so slow. Come on, man. Why do people care so much what other people do in their lives? How is it anyone's business who someone else is attracted to? How is it anybody else's business whether someone identifies as bisexual, gay, transgender, asexual, or whatever identity you feel represents the way you are? How is that anybody else's business? I don't say I'm gay on here because I'm trying to force anything onto you. I'm saying that I'm gay so that other people who are also gay can feel represented in some way, whether that's a good way or a bad way, I don't know, but I'm just being myself, and you can make whatever assumptions you want about me because I'm gay or whatever is in your head. But for the kids out there who don't have support, who don't have family members who love them and care for them in the way that they're supposed to as parents, especially in, I don't want to bash religious people, but it's mostly, I'd say a quite significant number of these homeless kids are from religious backgrounds because their parents are so programmed by a book that they read written thousands of years ago that they'll disown their own children. How mentally ill do you have to be to do that? To think that a book written thousands of years ago is more important than your own children. You are mentally disturbed if that's how you're going to live your life. That your children, your own flesh and blood, are rejected and shamed and ridiculed and made homeless, and in some cases even physically assaulted, and worse in some cases. A friend of mine said that he had to leave his country because he was born in Saudi Arabia, and his parents would literally have killed him if he'd stayed there, just because he was gay. For no other reason, just that he was gay, they would have killed him. So he had to flee the country for his own survival. This is so fucked up. What are you doing in these countries? The 60-odd countries where it's illegal. Why do you care so much? What's it got anything to do with you? I don't get it. So if you are struggling right now and you are wondering, oh shit, am I safe to come out to my parents? If you're not in a safe place, then don't do it. Wait. I don't think anyone should stay in the closet for any reason other than their own personal safety. If your personal safety is at risk from parents which you believe will react in an extreme way to you being gay, then try and delay that process a little bit until you've found a way to be stable. I didn't tell my parents until I had a boyfriend. At that point, I was like, if everything goes crazy and they say something bad and kick me out or whatever, I've got some possibility of a backup plan. Luckily, at the time when I came out when I was 18, to my mum was cool. She even came gay clubbing with me. My dad, I didn't tell him. He basically just walked into my bedroom without knocking and saw a boy lying on top of my bed. Not in the bed, not naked, not having sex, just lying on my bed next to me, fully clothed. I was in bed and he was on top of the covers. So there was literally a barrier between us. But it was close enough that my dad was like, yeah, he figured it out. He figured it out. He was not the most accepting of fathers in the first place. Like my whole life, I've never really felt like I had much of a dad anyway. And then this kind of killed any potential link to him in an emotional, fatherly way. Like he was quite distant, and I never really felt like I had a real dad anyway. But my mom kind of held everything together. She basically wouldn't let him do anything. He would probably have kicked me out in the beginning, but because my mum was there, then it was all right. It was awkward, but it was okay. But my mum was also not willing to put up with his bullshit for much longer, and then she eventually left. And my sister had already moved out and got married, so it was just me and my dad, same house, just me and him. And as soon as my mum left, I was like, my time is limited now. I need to find something. I need to figure this out because this is not going to be a sustainable arrangement. But it was kind of okay in a way because my dad was quite rich and had a massive house. So I didn't actually live directly in the house with him. I lived in what we called a granny annex on the side. It was like a self-contained one-bedroom flat on the side of the house. So I was kind of separated from him a little bit. But when I quit university, that also didn't add too much to my credibility. So I'm gay, I'm a university dropout, I'm a complete waste of space, haven't got a job, all these other things, wasting my life, complete useless piece of shit, according to him. And I don't know who made this accusation. But when he just came into the room one day and he just started ranting at me, calling me a crack dealer. I don't know where he got that concept from because I've never even seen crack, let alone smoked it or sold it. I've never even seen it. I don't even know what it. I've seen it on a photo, but I don't know what it actually looks like in real life. But apparently, I was a crack dealer, and yeah, that was, I don't know. There was some kind of delusion in his head that that yeah. So I was gay, I was university dropout, and I'm also a crack dealer. And that was too much for him, and he couldn't handle it. And he's like, "I wish you were dead. Get out of my house." Okay, all right, bye. See you later. So I was I was 22. I wasn't a little kid. So unfortunately, in England, if you're over the age of 18 and you're made homeless by your parents, there's no support from the government or anything. But luckily, a couple of weeks before this happened, I started seeing a guy who was also kicked out by his parents, but he was kicked out when he was 17, and by stroke of luck managed to get a council flat. So I was like, "Can I move in with you?" And he was like, "Okay, let's do it." So my dad was kind enough to let me borrow his van and move all my stuff out, and that was the last I spoke to him. Luckily, I still managed to keep a good relationship with my mom and my sister, but I didn't speak to my dad for over 10 years until he was dying of cancer. And my sister called me and said, "Your dad's dying. Do you want to go and see him?" I was like, "Not really. He's already died 10 years ago." But I was like, "I've got to go. I feel obligated to go and say goodbye, or at least watch him die." So I went to see him. He was really sick at this point. It was only a couple of weeks before he actually died. But it was just really awkward. No, there was no like big hug or like, "Oh, I missed you. I'm so sorry. All this shit happened or whatever." There was none of that. There was no sorry. Sorry for what I said. I didn't. It was just the heat of the moment. I didn't mean to say I wish you were dead or anything like that. But that was it. He was so close to dying anyway. That was the last time I actually spoke to him. The next time I went back, he was already unconscious, and then he died, which was a weird experience because although it was sad to see someone die and your dad dying, but I kind of felt like a good riddance. Really, it's not a nice thing to say about your own dad, but I just at the point where he said, "I wish you were dead," I was like, "Well, okay, well, you are dead to me then. I don't care anymore. I'll make my own life." And I made my own life. I started my own business. I made millions of dollars. I was on TV designing some of the most advanced gaming technology in the world. I've done some cool stuff in my life, and it was all not related to what he did. And I like the fact that I didn't follow in his footsteps of being an absolute dickhead. Unfortunately, he was also a dickhead to everybody else, my sister as well. Um, so yeah, I don't miss him at all. Like, even though this happened back in 2002, long time ago, the internet was almost still dial-up back then. But now we've got a little bit more connectivity in the world. There's a few more ways that homeless kids can find support now that didn't exist back then. We have a whole load of new opportunities for people to make a business from a mobile phone these days, which didn't exist back in 2000s. So if you are out there and you're struggling right now with family and friends who are rejecting you because of who you are, then come and join my community. It's free. You don't have to. I don't have to be gay, or you don't have to be autistic, but it's for any of the outsiders, really. It's called the Neurodivergent Lifestyle Community, but it's umbrella capture for all the people that are rejected by society. So come and join us, and at least you'll have someone to talk to if you don't have anyone in your real physical life that can support you, then there's always ways to communicate online. I don't want to say this story as a way to scare people into staying in the closet because of what might happen to you, but you have to face the realistic chance that if you do come out to your parents, that something bad might happen. Um, Sad that that's the case, but that is still the case. It's getting better now than it was back, in the 90s, but it's still a serious problem for a lot of gay kids. And I'm kind of like the older gay uncle now who's been through a lot of shit. I've been through a lot of shit. I've done things, crazy stuff through my whole life to survive, to thrive, to build things from nothing. And I got a lot of experience that maybe can help a lot of younger people that are going through similar things that I went through, that don't have anyone to ask for support. So if you are in that situation, come join the group, talk to me, message me. I don't bite, I promise. I'm really shy about reaching out and talking to strangers, but if you message me, I'll usually reply, unless I've got thousands of messages, but I'm going to try to reply to anyone who needs a little bit of support. So come join the community. I'll see you in there, and hopefully you have a better experience coming out to your family than I did. So be safe. Don't come out if it's dangerous, but don't hide yourself forever. You need to be you, and it's okay to be you.